Hi guys, welcome back to GH Spoilers channel. Today, we will learn about the issue that has rocked the custody battle between Michael and Willow to its core, revealing the cracks in Drew Cain's character and exposing the deep emotional turmoil that has been brewing for months. This ongoing fight for custody of Amelia and Wiley has already been filled with intense moments, legal drama, and shocking revelations. But nothing could have prepared anyone for the seismic shift that took place in the courtroom. Drew, who had been positioned as Willow's partner and a father figure to Amelia and Wiley, found himself at the center of a public scandal that could change everything. The courtroom drama had been building for days as both Michael and Willow fought fiercely for custody of their children. Michael had made it clear that he wanted to share custody with Willow and raise their children together in a stable and loving environment. On the other hand, Willow, though initially open to joint custody, had become more insistent on keeping her children under her sole care. The tension between the two was palpable, with their lawyers battling it out in front of the judge, each side presenting their case in an attempt to prove that they were the better parent for Wiley and Amelia. Throughout the proceedings, Drew had been a steady presence by Willow's side, offering her emotional support and defending her position as a mother who was committed to providing the best possible life for her children. Drew's role as a stepfather to Amelia and Wiley was seen as crucial to Willow's case. His lawyers argued that Drew was a capable and loving father figure who would help raise the children in a stable home. However, there was a darker side to Drew's intentions and actions that had remained hidden from public view. Behind the scenes, Drew's attention had been divided. While he was devoted to his relationship with Willow and was eager to support her in her battle for custody, he had increasingly neglected his own daughter, Scout. Since the tragic death of Sam, Drew had become more focused on his political ambitions, his relationship with Willow, and the complex dynamics of the custody case, leaving Scout feeling isolated and abandoned. She had been forced to fend for herself, spending long hours with a nanny while Drew pursued his personal and professional interests. It was clear to everyone around Drew that he was not the attentive father he claimed to be, especially when it came to Scout. His neglect of his own daughter, coupled with his insistence on raising other children, was starting to raise eyebrows among those who knew him best. Scout, despite being a child herself, had begun to notice her father's absence and his growing obsession with his new family. She was hurt, frustrated, and deeply upset that her father was prioritizing his relationship with Willow and their children over her well-being. The tension in the courtroom reached a boiling point during Drew's testimony. Standing before the judge, Drew confidently declared that he would raise Amelia and Wiley as if they were his own children, promising to love, protect, and care for them with all his heart. His words were well-intentioned, but they rang hollow to those who knew the truth about his actions behind the scenes. His insistence on being the perfect father figure for Willow's children was met with skepticism by some, but it wasn't until Scout, sitting in the audience, stood up and demanded to speak that the real shock hit the courtroom. The judge, surprised by Scout's sudden outburst, granted her permission to speak. What followed was an emotional and devastating speech that left everyone in the courtroom stunned. With tears in her eyes, Scout spoke directly to the judge, her voice trembling with raw emotion. She criticized Drew for being a neglectful father, someone who had failed to be there for her after Sam's death, someone who had spent more time focused on his political career and his relationship with Willow than on the needs of his own daughter. Scout spoke of the loneliness she had felt, the absence of her father when she needed him most, and the fact that she had been left alone with a nanny while Drew pursued his own happiness with Willow. She accused Drew of being a hypocrite, claiming that it would be a disaster for Amelia and Wiley to be raised by someone who couldn't even take care of his own child. "How can you say you'll be a good father to them," Scout cried, "when you don't even care about me?" The courtroom was silent as Scout's words sank in. Drew, unable to respond, stood frozen, his face a mixture of guilt and regret. His heart sank as he realized that his own daughter, the one person who had always looked up to him, now saw him as a failure. Willow, too, was visibly shaken, her face contorting with confusion, disbelief, and guilt. She had always believed Drew to be a dedicated and loving father, but Scout's impassioned words shattered that illusion. How could she have missed the signs? How could she have believed in Drew so blindly, when his own child was crying out for his attention and love? The judge, after hearing Scout's testimony, expressed deep disappointment in Drew's actions. He noted that while Drew had made a commendable effort to support Willow and take on the role of stepfather to Amelia and Wiley, his neglect of Scout could not be overlooked. The judge made it clear that a parent's responsibility extended beyond just providing for a child's physical needs. It was about emotional availability, support, and love. And in that respect, Drew had failed. His actions, or lack thereof, had not gone unnoticed, and it was clear to the judge that his ability to raise both Amelia and Wiley in a loving and stable environment was questionable at best. As the proceedings continued, it became evident that the judge's trust in Drew had been severely compromised. Despite his initial claims of being a loving, protective father, Drew's actions painted a different picture of neglect, self-centeredness, and a failure to prioritize his children's emotional needs. This left the judge with little choice but to rule in favor of Michael. The final custody ruling was delivered, and Michael was granted full legal and physical custody of both Amelia and Wiley. The judge emphasized that Michael had shown consistent emotional availability, stability, and love for his children, and that their best interests would be served in his care. Willow, although devastated by the ruling, accepted the decision, knowing that the most important thing was her children's well-being. She would still be involved in their lives, but she would no longer have the same level of control over their upbringing. For Drew, the fallout from Scout's testimony was immense. He had lost not only the trust of the judge but also the trust of those closest to him. He had failed his own daughter, and no amount of apologies or promises could undo the damage he had caused. Drew tried to approach Scout after the hearing, but she was too hurt and angry to listen. "You're not the father I need," she said through her tears, "and I don't know if I'll ever forgive you." As for Michael, he was left to pick up the pieces of his fractured family. Though he had won custody, the journey was far from over. He had to rebuild trust with Willow, navigate the complex relationships with Drew and Nina, and most importantly, provide a safe, loving environment for Amelia and Wiley. The emotional toll of the battle had left deep scars, but Michael was determined to be the father his children deserved. For Willow, the path forward was unclear. She still loved Drew, but her trust in him had been irrevocably damaged. The knowledge that Drew had neglected his own daughter while trying to take on the role of father for her children left her heartbroken. As for her relationship with Michael, there was hope, but it would take time and effort to heal the wounds that had been caused during the custody battle. The courtroom drama had ended, but the emotional fallout would reverberate for a long time. The custody battle was over, but the true consequences of Drew's actions had only just begun to unfold. Next, we will learn about the issue that is about to explode in Port Charles, as several characters who have made questionable choices in the past are about to face the consequences of their actions. The drama that has been brewing for weeks is coming to a head, and it's clear that 5 individuals will pay the price for their misdeeds. In this article, we'll take a closer look at the characters whose decisions are catching up to them, how these moments will unfold, and the dramatic fallout that will follow. 1. Christina Kernos Davis, a dangerous obsession that will lead to destruction. Christina Kernos Davis has always struggled to make wise decisions, and her obsession with Ava Jerome is about to come crashing down. Christina's recent actions, including sabotaging a car and almost causing a fatal accident, should have been a wake-up call, but it appears that Christina has learned nothing from her past mistakes. She has already endangered the lives of 2 innocent people, Elizabeth Baldwin and Rick Lansing, yet she continues to engage in reckless behavior, driven by her hatred and jealousy toward Ava. Despite the warnings from her mother, Alexis Davis, who has repeatedly told Christina to back off, Christina's fixation on Ava is growing stronger. Christina's willingness to take risks for her vendetta against Ava will eventually catch up with her, and when it does, the fallout will be immense. Whether she ends up facing prison time for her reckless actions or simply dealing with the wrath of her sister, Molly Lansing, who is deeply frustrated by Christina's lack of accountability, Christina will be forced to confront the consequences of her choices. Her obsession with Ava may ultimately destroy her relationship with her family and lead her down a dark path from which there may be no return. To Willow Kernos, the blind spot that will ruin everything. Willow Kernos has been making some incredibly poor decisions lately, especially when it comes to her relationship with Drew Kane. Despite hearing troubling information from her son, Christinas, about Drew's recent behavior, Willow has chosen to trust Drew over her own child. Instead of giving Wiley the benefit of the doubt and listening to his concerns, Willow automatically sided with Drew and dismissed what Wiley overheard. This blind trust in Drew has already caused irreparable damage, and it's only a matter of time before Willow's world comes crashing down. Willow's continued attacks on Christinas, questioning his abilities as a father during the ongoing custody battle, have also proven to be a major misstep. She's so entangled in Drew's web of lies and manipulation that she's lost sight of what truly matters: well-being of her children. Despite her intentions, Willow has allowed Drew to influence her decisions in ways that are damaging not only to her relationship with Michael but also to her ability to make sound judgments as a mother. As the custody battle continues, it's clear that Willow is headed for a rude awakening. Whether she wins or loses the case, the truth about Drew's manipulative behavior will eventually come to light, and Willow will have to confront the reality of her mistakes. When the truth about Drew's lies, his actions, and his true character finally hits Willow, she will face the consequences of blindly trusting someone who has been using her for his own gain. 3. Nina Reeves. The secrets she's been hiding will destroy everything. Nina Reeves had the chance to stop this entire mess from spiraling out of control, but her refusal to come clean about her affair with Drew Cain will come back to haunt her. While Willow was falling for Drew and becoming emotionally attached, Nina knew the truth all along. She and Drew had a passionate encounter that Willow deserved to know about. Nina's decision to stay silent and protect Drew instead of being honest with her daughter has put her in an untenable position. Once Willow learns the truth about Nina's involvement with Drew, her anger will be intense. Willow will feel betrayed by the one person she thought she could trust above all others, her own mother. Nina could have prevented the mess that's now engulfing Willow's life, but instead, she kept her secrets hidden. When Drew's nefarious actions are exposed, Nina will face backlash not only from Willow but from others in Port Charles who will be equally shocked by her role in perpetuating the lies. Her failure to come clean about the affair could result in a permanent fracture in her relationship with Willow, and it will undoubtedly damage Nina's reputation even further. In addition to the affair, Nina's role in the Jacinda drugging scheme may come to light as well, further complicating her relationship with Willow. Though Nina may try to justify her actions, the damage will likely be too great for her to repair. The truth will come out, and Nina will have to live with the consequences of her lies and the betrayal of her own daughter. For Drew Cain, the reckoning that's long overdue. Drew Cain is heading toward a major reckoning, and it's clear that the life he's built with Willow and the kids is on the verge of crumbling. Drew has made a series of questionable decisions, from his manipulation of Willow to his lies about his relationship with Nina. His behavior throughout the custody battle has been appalling, and it's only a matter of time before his actions blow up in his face. Drew's manipulation of Willow and his role in the custody fight have made him a target. While he may have thought he could control the narrative and get away with his lies, the truth will inevitably catch up with him. His shady dealings, the deception, and the betrayal will not go unnoticed. And when everything unravels, Drew will face the fallout. He will have to confront the reality that his attempts to manipulate those around him have destroyed everything he thought he could build with Willow and her children. 5. Jack Brennan. The secrets he's been hiding will have consequences. Jack Brennan is another character who is set to face serious consequences for his actions. Carly Spencer has no idea that Brennan, in his position with the WSB, recruited Jocelyn Jackson to a dangerous and deceptive path. By signing Jocelyn up as a WSB agent, Brennan has dragged her into a web of lies and dangerous activities, all while keeping Carly in the dark. Carly will soon learn the truth about Brennan's manipulation and how he put Jocelyn in harm's way. When the truth comes out, Carly will be furious. She will feel deeply betrayed by Brennan and will likely sever all ties with him. Jason Morgan, who has been investigating the truth behind Cyrus Renault's operations, will likely be the one to uncover Brennan's role in this shocking revelation. As Jason digs deeper into Brennan's involvement, Carly's anger will grow, and Brennan will face the repercussions of his actions. Brennan's secrets will not only damage his relationship with Carly but could also endanger Jocelyn's future with her family. As Carly learns more about Brennan's manipulation, the fallout will be swift and unforgiving. Carly's wrath will be fierce, and Brennan will soon realize that his actions have put him at odds with the most powerful people in Port Charles. As these 5 characters face the fallout from their decisions, it's clear that Port Charles is on the brink of a dramatic collapse. The lies, manipulation, and betrayal that have been woven into the fabric of these characters' lives will no longer remain hidden. Each of them will have to reckon with the consequences of their actions, and the damage will be far-reaching. Michael, Willow, Drew, Nina, and Brennan will all face significant consequences for their choice, whether it's the destruction of relationships, loss of trust, or even legal ramifications. As their worlds crumble, the town of Port Charles will be left to pick up the pieces. Next, we are diving deep into the explosive new developments set to rock Port Charles during the week of June 9th to 13th. The latest official preview is practically buzzing with intrigue, promising a cascade of events that will entangle several key characters in a web of secrets, propositions, and forbidden attractions. A tempting offer by the poolside. The scene is set at the lavish Metro Court pool, a location synonymous with both relaxation and high-stakes drama. Sunlight glints off the water as Christina Kernos Davis, a woman increasingly defined by her impulsive and dangerous decisions, spots her target, the charismatic and ever-opportunistic Cody Bell. She approaches him not with casual pleasantries, but with a direct and tantalizing proposition that hangs in the humid summer air. How would you like to make some money? For a man like Cody, whose moral compass often spins wildly in the direction of a quick and easy payday, these are words he simply cannot ignore. His history in Port Charles has shown us time and again that he is a gambler at heart, willing to take risks others would shy away from. This offer from Christina isn't just a question, it's a hook, and it seems Cody is more than ready to bite. Get ready for a turbulent ride, GH fans, because when these 2 volatile personalities team up, the potential for chaos is limitless. A vacancy opens and a new chapter begins. As one door opens for Cody, another closes for a beloved Port Charles resident. The preview confirms the bittersweet news that Lucky Spencer is preparing to leave town this week. His departure will undoubtedly leave a void, not just in the hearts of his family and friends, but also in the fabric of the community. This leads to the most logical and immediate speculation regarding Christina's offer. She needs someone to fill the bartending position at Charlie's Pub, the establishment co-owned by her mother, Alexis Davis. It's a strategic move. By installing Cody behind the bar, Christina not only solves a staffing issue but also places a potential ally in a key location, a place where secrets are currency and loose lips are common. For Cody, it's the perfect gig: steady cash, a social atmosphere, and a front row seat to the daily drama of Port Charles. The question is, does he have any idea what he's truly signing up for? The sword of Damocles, Christina's deadly secret. This proposition is far more than a simple job offer. It's a gateway into the darkest chapter of Christina's life. If Cody accepts and begins working closely with her, he will be entering the orbit of a terrifying secret that has the power to destroy the entire Davis family. We must not forget the gravity of Christina's recent actions. In a misguided and vengeful attempt to eliminate Ava Jerome, Christina meticulously cut the brake lines of a car she believed belonged to her enemy. The catastrophic result was a horrific crash that nearly killed her own uncle, Rick Lansing, and an innocent bystander, Elizabeth Baldwin. This single act of violence has set off a devastating chain reaction. Rick and Ava, now armed with the truth, have initiated a cruel and calculated blackmail scheme against Alexis, holding the threat of Christina's exposure over her head like a guillotine. Alexis is trapped, forced to navigate the demands of 2 formidable adversaries while trying to protect her reckless daughter. Should Cody become Christina's new confidant, it's almost inevitable that he will stumble upon the pieces of this deadly puzzle. He might overhear a hushed, frantic conversation between Christina and Alexis, witness a tense and threatening exchange between Alexis and Ava, or Christina herself might, in a moment of overwhelming guilt or fear, confess her sins to her new employee. If and when Cody learns that the impulsive woman who hired him is responsible for a near-fatal crime, he will be faced with an impossible dilemma: a triangle of sisterly affection and deceit. The situation is further complicated by Cody's burgeoning connection with Christina's sister, the thoughtful and principled Molly Lansing Davis. Their dynamic began as a clever ruse for the 2025 Nurses' Ball, a pretend romance designed for show. However, as is often the case in the world of daytime drama, fake feelings have begun to blossom into something genuine and palpable. There's an undeniable chemistry between Cody and Molly. He brings a sense of adventure and spontaneity to her structured life, while she offers him a glimpse of stability and genuine kindness that he rarely encounters. This budding romance is on a direct collision course with the secret Christina is so desperately trying to conceal. Imagine the fallout when and if Cody discovers the truth. How could he possibly move forward with the compassionate Molly while knowing her own sister nearly killed their uncle and Elizabeth? His loyalty would be torn to shreds. Siding with the truth would mean betraying Christina and devastating Molly, potentially sending her sister to prison. Staying silent would make him an accomplice after the fact, forcing him to live a lie with the woman he is growing to care for. This is the kind of agonizing, high-stakes emotional conflict that defines General Hospital. A summer of sizzling conflict. As these plot threads converge, the stage is set for the messiest and most compelling love triangle of the summer. What begins as a working relationship between Cody and Christina at Charlie's pub could easily ignite into something more. They are both passionate, impulsive individuals who often act before they think. The long hours, the shared workspace, and the high-stress environment created by Christina's secret could forge a bond of intense, albeit dangerous, intimacy. This creates the ultimate soapy scenario, a man caught between two sisters. On one side, there is Molly, representing love, honesty, and a chance at a real, healthy relationship. On the other, there is Christina, representing danger, secrets, and a forbidden, fiery attraction. Cody will be walking a tightrope, with his heart pulling him in one direction and a dark, explosive secret pushing him in another. The fallout from this emotional entanglement promises to be spectacular, pitting sister against sister and forcing Cody to make a choice that will have permanent consequences for everyone involved. Are you on board for this steamy and dramatic plotline, GH fans? Tell us what you think is next for the Davis sisters and the man caught in the middle next. We are exploring the emotional powder keg that is about to explode in the heart of Port Charles. As the stage is finally set for Sasha Gilmore to confront Nina Reeves in a long overdue moment of reckoning, the simmering tensions and unspoken resentments that have festered between these two women are about to boil over. And the fallout from this encounter promises to redefine their complex relationship forever. For weeks, viewers have been clamoring for this very moment, waiting for the quiet strength and enduring loyalty of Sasha to finally rise up and hold Nina accountable for her relentless pattern of self-serving decisions. The calm before the storm. The atmosphere around Sasha has been heavy with a quiet resolve. She has watched from a painful proximity as Nina has continuously navigated her life with a shocking lack of self-awareness, leaving a trail of emotional wreckage in her wake. The final straw isn't one single event, but a crushing accumulation of disappointments. Sasha has observed Nina's desperate, often manipulative attempts to win the affection of her biological daughter, Willow, while simultaneously taking for granted the unwavering support Sasha has offered her for years. More damningly, Sasha is armed with the devastating knowledge of Nina's secret affair with Drew Kane, a romance she pursued while he was deeply entangled with Willow. In Sasha's eyes, this wasn't just a simple mistake, it was a profound betrayal. Nina had the power to prevent immense heartache for her own daughter but chose her own selfish desires instead, a choice that encapsulates Nina's tragic flaw. Sasha's heart aches not just with anger, but with a deep, profound sadness for the woman she once looked up to, the woman she genuinely came to love as a mother. Now, that love has curdled into a firm determination to speak a truth that no one else seems willing to say directly to Nina's face. A showdown in the House of Crimson. The inevitable collision is poised to take place in the one location where Nina feels most powerful and in control, the sleek, stylish offices of Crimson Magazine. Imagine Sasha walking in, her presence not aggressive, but imbued with an unshakable sense of purpose that immediately puts Nina on edge. The initial pleasantries will be brief, quickly giving way to the raw heart of the matter. Sasha's confrontation won't be a hysterical outburst, but a calm, cutting dissection of Nina's actions. She will lay out the facts with precision, reminding Nina of every time she chose herself over the well-being of those who loved her, especially Willow. The accusation will be direct. You knew, Nina. You knew Drew and Willow were navigating something complicated and fragile, and you chose that exact moment to start a secret affair. You had the chance to be the bigger person, the mother you claim you want to be, but you put yourself first. Once again, you prioritized your own needs over your daughter's happiness. This won't just be an accusation, it will be an indictment of Nina's very character. Nina's last line of defense. Backed into a corner by a truth she cannot deny, a cornered and wounded Nina will likely lash out with the most painful weapon in her arsenal. Her defense will be to attack, to deflect from her own guilt by reopening Sasha's oldest wound. We can almost hear her voice, dripping with indignation and hurt. How dare you stand there and lecture me on honesty? You, of all people. Have you forgotten how you entered my life, Sasha? You were a lie. A paid impostor, a cruel deception orchestrated by Valentine to manipulate my deepest grief. You pretended to be my daughter. This painful reminder is Nina's go-to-defense mechanism, an attempt to discredit Sasha and reframe her as a hypocrite who has no moral ground to stand on. It is a desperate, cruel move, but for Nina, it is the only way she knows how to fight back when the mirror Sasha is holding up becomes too painful to look at. She will attempt to turn the tables, painting herself as the perpetual victim of other people's betrayals, even as she is being confronted with her own. The tragic irony of a mother's love. This very defense, however, will only serve to highlight the tragic and profound irony of their entire relationship. While Sasha's entry into Nina's life was based on a lie, everything that followed was breathtakingly real. Sasha has been more of a true daughter to Nina than Willow has ever had the chance to be. It was Sasha who stood by Nina's side, offering comfort and fierce loyalty when the truth about Mike and Nixon Falls came out, and half of Port Charles turned against her. It was Sasha who consistently offered a compassionate ear and a shoulder to cry on, asking for nothing in return. She became the daughter of Nina's heart, even if she wasn't the daughter of her blood. In her myopic and obsessive quest for a picture-perfect relationship with her biological daughter, Nina has risked alienating the one person who gave her unconditional love and acceptance. Nina is indeed trapped in a lose-lose-lose situation of her own making. She has failed to forge a genuine bond with Willow. She is on the verge of losing Sunny, and now she is about to permanently fracture her relationship with the loyal, loving non-daughter who has been her most steadfast ally. The repercussions of this confrontation will be immediate and devastating. When the dust settles, their bond, already strained, may be shattered beyond repair. It goes without saying that General Hospital fans will need to be glued to their screens, as this emotional detonation is not just an end to one chapter, but the explosive beginning of a new and certain future for both Sasha Gilmore and Nina Reeves.